Milo.
The babe.
Going a little walk today because it's January, middle of January, and it's like 70 degrees outside. So why not enjoy some of the sunlight? But one thing we kind of really wanted to talk about that we've never actually answered, and especially as we dive in more into this project, of why actually we decided to do Backward Purpose and what that actually means for us and what even sparked the idea to begin with. I mean, it was her idea, so.
Yeah. I mean, if we're bringing it way, way back.
The beginning.
The beginning?
Yeah, like when we were sitting on the couch in the house.
Yeah.
And like why we decided to sell everything and quit our jobs and really like restart our lives. 23, 24 years old. Why is that possibly a good idea?
We were sitting in our living room. We had either about to or just have our 1-year wedding anniversary. Caleb was kind of at a turning point in his career where he was wanting to do something different. We were kind of having conversations about having a baby. He was like, you know, I think I'm ready for something different. And he was throwing off some ideas and all these other things. And I was like, well, we've got a mortgage and we've got a car payment and we've got all these things. We need to really talk about what we're gonna do next. The more he talked about how he didn't want to do his job anymore, I was like, well, I don't want to do mine. Like, I work ridiculous hours during July, August, September months, and that's not really family friendly either. So let's really try to come up with something that we both would enjoy. And
I worked hours that were, I would leave the house at 6:30 and get home at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. I would only be home for, 30 minutes before the guy went to bed. And that's just not the kind of parent that I wanted to be or husband that I wanted to be to her. I wanted to actually be involved in our kids' lives and be around as much as possible. Hidden Lake or Ridge Loop?
Hidden Lake.
Hidden Lake. Sorry, this one looks more gnarly than this one. Yeah. So we're gonna go on the easy one.
And I was like, okay, we need to figure this out because he had been, I love you, but he had been kind of grumpy for about a month or so.
Not happy with the current situation. I was like, there's that fine line between working to live and living to work. Like we started our jobs and then that led to the next check, which led to the next check, which led to the next car payment, which led to the next mortgage.
And our promotions. And
yeah, which is all exciting. There's nothing wrong with it.
We were super proud. Accomplishments wise and stuff like that, I feel like we
were very happy with that.
So it's not like we were just super depressed people. It's just we realized our current careers were not family friendly.
We were content with it, but we weren't happy with it. Like I didn't wake up wanting to go to work, and that's never something I really wanted. I wanted to wake up and be happy with what I was doing and excited for the next day.
Yeah, and we kind of had to figure out also, we had always talked about me being a stay-at-home mom, and then it was like, well, are we even ready for kids? It was like we were sitting here making important decisions about children and we weren't even sure if we were ready to have them. That's what led to, oh, okay, well, as 22-year-olds, what do we want to accomplish before having children? I mean, everybody kind of has that moment. You always want to be like financially ready or
we wanted to have this, wanted to have that, wanted to be responsible.
Yeah, and then it was like, well, I always wanted to travel, and
at the end of the day, I think we were really coming to a point in our lives that we didn't cherish the money that we were making. We really just wanted time.
Yeah, it was like an overwhelming turning point in our lives, and I mean, it was a long conversation.
And I think it led on for at least a couple of months before we actually decided, you know what, sit down and actually have a conversation about it. Yeah. Start making steps towards what we were talking about.
And then finally in June, I was like, okay, enough is enough. You know what? Since we're so tossing and turning, we can't figure out what we want, why don't we take a small little break from life and enjoy each other for a little bit?
I mean, the idea behind it was like, let's just take a month or whatever and go explore, go on a couple different trips to different states and maybe different countries. And well, if we're gonna do this and like restart our careers, let's take a little bit longer and really kind of figure out what we wanted. So instead of doing 6 months international, I mean, we've never explored Memphis back at that point, so.
Yeah, it was actually, your idea, because I was like, let's go to Europe and Italy. I've always wanted to go here, here, here. And he was like, wait a second, we don't even know the US. And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, yeah, I know the US, I know what state. But if you think about it, what states have you been to? I'd like vacationed in Florida, went to Disney World. I'd
Been to Georgia, North Carolina.
Yeah, and I mean, we always knew our house was going to be a starter home. We said we were going to live there like 3 to 5 years. We were approaching 3 years.
Kind of jumpstart us into another home, which it did.
Yeah.
Just happened to be our car.
Yeah.
And it's
So,
awesome.
There was not like a magic thought, but it definitely felt like it was definitely the right path for us because everything fell in line. Do you remember how crazy that was? It was like
Yes.
we were really iffy about it, but
Like we had like deadlines of when we knew we wanted to start the trip. So we had this conversation at probably like the end of April, beginning of May about, hey, we're gonna sell our house, quit our jobs, sell everything inside, and travel for a year.
in 2016, right?
Yes, 2016. Wow, that's
I
3
know.
years ago. For the first probably 6 months, it was more or less like a dream because all I was doing was reading and watching and understanding like
Yeah.
how to travel and what, like if we're gonna do a van, are we
Research.
gonna do the FJ, are we gonna get a camper or a trailer?
I'm not gonna lie, I had to start decluttering and I needed to do it a year ahead of time because Lord knows I
What
love
we're
my
actually gonna
knickknacks.
keep, what we're gonna get rid of.
Yes. And we did. I mean, we just started hitting it. Like, it just still didn't feel real. Like,
Yeah.
anybody can organize their home and do research.
And then like progressing towards this trip and hey, we're actually gonna do this. Like we talked it up and told a couple of people and we're not gonna kind of chicken out at this point. And then we put our house on the market and that sold within 24 hours. So that was fantastic. And it's like,
amazing.
once that happened and we were technically homeless, we were like, we'd be idiots to not do this. But this is an opportunity that not everybody gets, or
Yeah.
let alone decides to take.
We had less than 30 days to jumpstart everything else. Like, estate sales. And,
Build the actual rig.
oh my gosh, yeah, I
Start
forgot
planning where we're gonna get. I mean, we literally just winged everything. And I think like just the gist of it too is like, we were unhappy with our day-to-day lives and we didn't want to pursue where we're headed down. And before we got stuck in kind of a rut of bigger bills and more responsibility, we decided to fix it right then and there.
that. Yeah, and I mean, we're not changed for life. I mean, even after we've done all of that, we still look at each other and we're like, we are not outdoorsy people.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
like
are.
going outdoors, but we just don't, when I say that, we don't feel like we're outdoorsy people.
We just go out and do stuff. And whatever happens at the end of the day is whatever happens at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Just
we
a good
definitely
story.
wing 90% of our life. It's kind
Which-
of stressful, kind of not.
It's really exciting because we have another really big endeavor we're about to pursue. And
17 minutes on the treadmill would have been for hella long.
but we didn't realize that we've been walking for like 30 minutes now, and the park is like 15 minutes back to the entrance, and it closes in 13 minutes. So we've got to go. But what a gem, just down the road.
Our beds all day, 'cause we both deserve it all.
So Caleb,
Yeah.
in your opinion, why did we go? Why did we do this trip? Because we have our opinion and I have mine. What's yours?
I think for me, I wanted to like restart. I wanted to like do something different that would put us out of our comfort zone, that we would learn from, that would be a great story, that I got to spend with my wife and kind of develop this relationship even more. Because like going into this trip, we knew that this trip is either gonna make us or break us. I mean, that's just kind of like the inevitable. Yeah, like there's no way we're gonna be the same marriage we were when we first started. But I think like I knew how I wanted my life to play out, and I was happy with all the cool stuff that I had. But at the end of the day, it was really that fine line between like living to work and working to live.
And you know, losing your grandma probably put a lot of perspective too of like what kind of marriage we wanted to have,
Yeah,
which is what leads us to why we decided to document so much.
100%. And
I
that's
completely forgot about that.
a good topic for another video to come, because that kind of like really changed our lives. It's something that we're gonna value a lot more from this point forward. But yeah, so we just kind of like wanted to restart, and this is the way to do it, at least for us. We just knew that we had to go big or go home.
We decided to go big and sell our home.
Yeah. Even though it seems like a crazy idea, and it doesn't seem like you can actually do it. As long as you're making steps forward to do something, they don't have to be big steps. You don't have to just like know everything, because by the time we sold our house, we didn't know exactly what we were doing. We just knew we were doing a trip.
Yeah, and I mean, I still feel like it's learning. Like looking back, I'm like, oh, okay, if we ever do it again, this is what we need to do differently.
It's like, just because you don't know how to do something doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, because at the end of the day, you're gonna get more educated, and your ignorance is gonna start diminishing away. You're gonna start learning a lot more experiences, understanding the do's and the don'ts.
And I think
Just like with parenting.
yeah, and I think the biggest thing about life is getting outside of your comfort zone, whether that's, you know, personally, religiously, career, anything that challenges you is just such a great like spirit lifter. Like, not to go all hippie on you guys, but
Just makes you feel better.
yeah,
And
it
at
really
the,
does.
At the end of the day, if you don't feel good and you're not happy, then what's the point?
Yeah.
We had great checks and we had great income and our lives were pretty solid, but we weren't happy. So because we weren't happy, we were like, why are we doing what we're doing? Why are we waking up in the morning?
Or financially just wasn't the only thing we wanted to be in check. We wanted our,
I wanted to be home. I
yeah.
wanted to enjoy my wife. I mean, that really falls down to it is, back in high school when we were building our relationship, we would put $10 in the Miata and drive around for 3 and 5 hours, just cruising around, talking, listening to music.
Yeah, that was our date.
Yeah, and as simple as that was, that was
Kids.
one of our happiest moments. And versus going to these fancy dinners and doing all these fun, nice things that you're supposed to do, that wasn't nearly as satisfying as us just hanging out together. I mean, well, I think for both of us, one of our most fond memories is getting in the Miata, driving the Natchez Trace, and eating BB's barbecue on the top of the bridge at like 8 o'clock at night.
And getting Dr. Pepper spilled all over me.
Exactly. And when we realized we could do that so simply, why not restart?